Every day, it seems like more and more American families are moving to Spain, and you're left thinking, where does that leave you and your family? There's a reason why American families are moving from the US to Spain. Here's how Spain can radically improve an American family's quality of life. First, mental health comes first, not last. In the US, life often feels like a constant grind, so much hustle culture, overwork to pay the bills, school pressure for kids to perform. It's survival mode. In Spain, life is slower, meals are sacred, and rest is built into the culture. And here are some of the reasons why more American families are moving to Spain. First and foremost, safety. Spain is consistently ranked among the safest countries in Europe. The US, however, has higher rates of gun violence and crime in general, especially in some urban areas. Next reason why more and more American families are moving to Spain is because Spain is a very family-centric culture. Spanish society strongly values family, and it's common for kids to be included in every aspect of daily life, from dining out, festivals, and more. And the third common reason why more American families are moving to Spain is because of affordable healthcare. Even if you have to get private health insurance in Spain, it's a normal price. Next is cost of living. Spain can be much more affordable in terms of housing, groceries, and child-related expenses like daycare. In the US, many families are struggling with high housing costs, healthcare, and childcare fees. In today's video, you're going to learn how to move to Spain from the US as a family, step-by-step guide. And this is from someone who actually did it. The first thing you need to do is choose the right visa type for your situation. Most American families without EU citizenship use one of these visas: non-lucrative visa, digital nomad visa, student visa, self-employment visa, or the latest professional work visa, which is also known as highly qualified professional visa. And now let's break down each of these visas. All of these visas are going to have slight tweaks and changes coming May, but here is a basic overview of all of these visas. The first visa we're going to be breaking down is a non-lucrative visa. This originally was for retirees, but now it has expanded to people who want to live in Spain but not work in Spain. You cannot actively work on a non-lucrative visa, so it's very important to mention that because you also do not want to get yourself into any type of legal trouble. The non-lucrative visa is great for people who are retiring early, people who are already retired, or people who have proof of passive income. The next visa is the digital nomad visa, and this visa is perfect for remote workers who want to bring their families to Spain. You can easily bring your spouse and kids on a digital nomad visa. You just have to have the financial requirements. Next, you have your student visa. So if you want to learn Spanish, you can bring your whole family. You just need to have sufficient income to be able to prove that you're qualified to do this. You can also enroll in schools such as a university, and your dependents can join. The student visa is definitely the easiest visa to move to Spain in regards to paperwork. It is also commonly used by families who want a soft landing moving to Spain, or also new immigrants who are looking to buy time to figure things out. Next, you have a self-employment visa in Spain. These are for entrepreneurs who want to set up a business in Spain. You can easily qualify for this if you submit a business plan and your financials. This visa is definitely harder to get, but it's possible if you're legitimately self-employed. The newest visa is the highly qualified visa. This is a work permit that enables citizens outside of the European Union to live and work in Spain legally. The only thing is they have to find a job offer in a Spanish company under a qualified or technical position, or as a manager directing people. And now the fun part for moving to Spain from the US as a family is going to be gathering all the paperwork. You will need to be gathering the required documents regardless of whatever visa you go on. The type of documents you'll usually need are valid passports for all family members, clean FBI background checks. Also very important to know that you will need this apostilled and translated. You will need medical certificates apostilled and translated as well. Depending on the type of visa you go on in Spain, you might need to prove private health insurance. This will not really be a stressor because private health insurance in Spain is significantly much cheaper than in the United States, so it won't break the bank. Also, depending on the type of visa you go on, you might need to prove proof of income as well as your savings. These type of documents include things like bank statements, employment contracts, employment letters, as well as tax returns. You might need to show your birth and marriage certificate as well, and if so, you will also need to have that apostilled and translated. And lastly, if you are applying for a student visa, you will need to show your school enrollment letter. And here's a very important pro tip if you're moving to Spain from the US. You need to have your translations done by a sworn translator. So that doesn't mean anybody who provides translation services is going to be qualified to do this. You need to make sure that the translator is authorized and approved by the Spanish government, basically. One of the things that makes people take a step back with moving to Spain is the paperwork and the amount of paperwork that needs to get done to successfully be able to execute. This is why it's so important that you do your due diligence and you look into the type of documents that you need to make sure that you get it done correctly and you provide the appropriate documents, because any errors will definitely provide delays. And if you do not want delays, it's very important that you provide your documents error-free and you know exactly what to do. The next thing you are going to do on how to move to Spain from the US as a family is you are going to apply at the right consulate in the United States. So basically, you must apply at the Spanish consulate that has jurisdiction over your state of residence. Each consulate has slightly different rules and timelines, so it's important that you look into which one is your consulate. Once you know which consulate you are going to apply to in the United States, you are then going to book your visa appointment. It's important that you do this with time because visa appointments book fast. Once you have your right appointment at the Spanish consulate in the United States, you are going to double and triple check the consulate's checklist to make sure that you are going to provide the appropriate documents to be sure that you successfully get your visa if you are going to decide to apply for the visa when you are in the United States. When you have your appointment, you are also going to bring 1 to 2 original copies of everything just in case they ask for it. Here is a pro tip. If you are moving to Spain from the US as a family, it's incredibly important to know that there are differences with where you apply for your visa. So if you apply for your visa in Spain, there will be other perks and advantages versus if you apply for your visa in the United States. For example, if you apply for your digital nomad visa in Spain as an American, if it gets approved, you usually get that visa for 3 years. In comparison, if you apply for that digital nomad visa for Spain within the United States as an American, you will only get qualified for a year and then you will have to renew. So it's up to you where you want to apply for your visa. But keep this in mind, especially if you want to stay in Spain for longer terms. The next thing you are going to do after you've already applied for your visa is you are going to arrive in Spain and get your foreigner ID card. Your foreigner ID card is everything here. You will need to show it for everything, especially important things such as bank documents, phone contracts, getting an apartment, etc. So within 30 days of arrival in Spain, you can apply for your TIE card. This is Tarjeta de Identidad de Extranjero. Once you apply to get this card, you will schedule an appointment to get fingerprinted by the police. You will bring your passport, your visa, your local address registration, and your visa approval papers. And then they will let you know when your ID is ready for you to pick up. And the fifth tip on how to move to Spain from the US as a family is all about finding housing and registering your address. So for you to access many things, you're going to need to register your address. And in Spanish, this is called empadronamiento. So for you to access healthcare, for you to enroll your kids in school, for you to apply for your foreigner card, you must be registered locally. And for you to do this, you can rent an apartment or a house or buy a place. And after you do rent or own a place, you will go to your local town hall to register your address. You'll need to bring your rental contract, your passport, and your visa. The next tip on how to move to Spain from the US as a family is all about enrolling your kids in school. And next, it's important to know what school options you have for your children in Spain. First and foremost, you have public schools, which are free. These are going to be your local schools. So a few things to mention with the public schools in Spain is that it is free, but it's going to be predominantly school in Spanish. So that might be a huge transition for your child if your child doesn't already know Spanish. There are public schools in Spain that are bilingual, but the second language will be English. That's just something to consider. Something else to consider is that not every region in Spain only speaks Spanish. There are other local Spanish language such as Basque and País Vasco and Asturiano and Asturias, which is in the north of Spain. So that's also something to keep in mind because that might also be a part of the school's studies. The next school option you have are semi-private schools. These are also known as concertados in Spanish. Semi-private schools receive government funding, but they are privately ran. They are much more affordable than fully private schools. They usually charge a monthly fee for tuition. Lastly, you have private schools. These will be the most expensive, but these will allow you to have the most control in regards to what type of curriculum you want your kid to study. In Spain, you have options of American schools, British schools, and international schools. If you do decide a private school for your child to study in Spain, you will also have more control in what language they will be studying in. Tuition for English school in Spain varies widely, but it usually ranges from around 5,000 euros annually to about 13,000 euros annually. And depending on what school you decide for your kids, it's going to depend on the documents that you'll need. But in general, you'll usually need your foreigner ID cards, your passports, your address registered, immunization records, and any other paperwork the school might ask for. What some American families do when they move to Spain is they will enroll their child in an American school or in a British school. The kids will be learning in English and they'll get culture outside of the school with traditions, holidays, events, things like that. The next tip on how to move to Spain from the US as a family is all about location. Choosing the right location is one of the most important decisions you'll make in regards to your move to Spain. Location will be affecting everything, so it affects cost of living, your kids' schools, your language needs, lifestyle, and also how easy it is to integrate. And here's a top tip on location when moving as a family. Don't automatically default to Madrid or Barcelona. And the reason being is because although these cities are super exciting and beautiful, and they do offer tons of amenities, they are very crowded, expensive, and it can be very intense for kids to immerse themselves in that. These crowded cities might not be ideal if you're maybe pregnant and expecting to have your baby in Spain. Instead, look at medium cities or large towns that offer great schools, public or international, parks and walkability, especially if you're sacrificing your car when you move to Spain, great expat communities, especially without being overrun by tourists, a lower cost of living, safety, and a slower pace of life. Here are the best family-friendly cities in Spain for expat families. Number one is definitely Valencia. The reason for this is because Valencia is a city, but it's not as big as Madrid or Barcelona, so it has a lower cost of living. There are also top-notch public and international schools in Valencia for expat families. You have a huge expat community. There's tons of Americans in Valencia. You are also on the coast in Valencia, so you have the beach, you have parks, you have tons of family-friendly activities, especially in the Valencia city where you have Ciudad de las Artes and the Ciencias, which is the arts and sciences, and there's tons of family-friendly activities to do around there. And Valencia is also bike-friendly, so if you are sacrificing your car, you have no needs to worry. You are in such a great location of Spain. You're also very close to Barcelona from Valencia, and you also have great Mediterranean weather and a very relaxed vibe. Valencia is perfect for families who want a balanced city life with nature, safety, and sunshine. Next, you have Granada, which is in the south of Spain. Granada is super beautiful. There you have the Alhambra, which is one of the most beautiful Spanish tourist attractions in all of Spain. Granada is also very historic. It's very walkable, and it's even more affordable than lots of parts of Spain because once you get to Andalusia, that is the more affordable part of Spain. In Granada, you're also close to the mountains, and you could also get to the coast easily from Granada. You do also have a slower pace of life in Granada, and you also have great food culture. So in the south, you have something called tapas, which is where if you order a drink, they'll give you light snacks, light plates. They're called tapas, and they're free. And some people have dinner and lunch like that because if you order 2 or 3 drinks, you can actually eat with those tapas. In Granada and Andalusia, it's super friendly. Make sure you check it out. If you go to that part of Spain, it is not to be missed. Free tapas culture is always a win, and that also helps with cost of living. In case your kids are older, you also have great public universities in Granada, Spain, and you do also have great international schools. Granada is perfect for families who want a charming, less touristic lifestyle surrounded by nature and history. Another possible family-friendly destination is San Sebastian. This is in the northeast of Spain. Very beautiful. A foodie's dream. That is a very food-oriented region of Spain. It's super safe, clean, and family-oriented. San Sebastian is also one of Spain's best cities for quality of life. It has gorgeous beaches and there's surfing culture. There is a smaller international community, but it is very welcoming. The only thing you do need to keep in mind if you move to San Sebastian is that it is in the north, so it sometimes is a lot gloomier than in the other parts of Spain. And they do also speak Basque there. If you're not interested in picking up any Basque and you don't want to be anywhere where they're speaking something else other than Spanish. Also predominantly because they do speak a lot of Basque and País Vasco, of course. That is something to keep in mind. I would compare the weather in San Sebastian, Spain to the Pacific Northwest in the United States. San Sebastian is perfect for families who want a peaceful, nature-rich life, excellent public services, and who are willing to learn a bit of Basque. Last but certainly not least, a possible city to consider is Malaga is in the south of Spain. So there you have warm coastal city with very great infrastructure. It's big enough for international schools and great healthcare there too. There is a very large expat population in Malaga, so there should be easy integration if you happen to choose Malaga. There's also one of the biggest airports in Spain in Malaga that might make travel easier. There are tons of family-friendly events in Malaga, as well as outdoor life. Some things to consider if you do choose to live in Malaga is that Malaga is very touristic, so it might be more expensive than other places in Spain, and it could be very crowded. But Malaga is perfect for families who want lots of sun, beach time, and a vibrant, safe city. And here's a bonus tip. I would visit before you commit to any location in Spain. Why? Because even a 1 to 2 week scouting trip in your top 2 to 3 cities or Spanish towns can make a huge difference in your decision. Be sure to walk around, check out schools, ask all the questions, and be sure to give yourself the opportunity to be able to picture daily life there. Last but certainly not least, I would recommend to prepare for culture shock and integration in Spain. Spanish bureaucracy is very slow. That might be a transition for you and your family, so prepare to follow up a lot and expect paperwork to take some time. I would also recommend to learn basic Spanish. It depends where you move in Spain, but this will only make your daily life so much easier. And if possible, I would also recommend for your kids to try to pick up a little bit of basic Spanish as well. If you can, join expat groups in Facebook, Meetup, and also internations. These resources are great to meet people, network, and meet other expats. Some final tips. I would recommend to over-prepare your documents. Remember, errors cause delays. You do not want any delays with your visa. You do not want your visa getting rejected. You don't want any delays with your residency. So it's always great to over-prepare because missing anything can delay you months. If you are overwhelmed, make sure to get community. Make sure to get help. I am going to be launching a course in a few weeks, so make sure to stay tuned for that if you're interested. And also be sure to get an immigration lawyer if you feel like this process is way too overwhelming to do on your own. And remember, don't rely on everyone to speak English because you're in Spain, you're not in the United States. And lastly, be sure to keep your visa renewals in mind, especially if yours are going to be yearly. So be ready with the appropriate documents, such as financial proof. That's all I have for you today. I hope you enjoyed learning how to move to Spain from the US as a family. As you can see, there's a lot of logistics that go into it, and this is just touching the surface, but getting familiar with the process prevents overwhelm and helps break things down step by step. And if you're early on in the moving abroad process and you're still brainstorming, I highly recommend checking out one of my latest recent videos that's all about if you should move abroad as an American. Be sure to like this video, subscribe for more, and I'll see you in the next video.